France may have lost Manon Brunet in the first quarter-final, losing 15-7 to Anna Marton of Hungary, but they're guaranteed a medal here in Orléans because Sarah NOUTCHA is on your left, and she goes up against her French teammate, Caroline QUEROLI. John, QUEROLI's got to be the favourite for this one, right?
I think she's the favourite, yeah, but I think NOUTCHA is such a fighter. She's such a warrior. I love watching her fence. She's so passionate about winning. She's so passionate about her sport. I've been watching since she was about 14 years old, both of them, in fact. And it's been great to see them develop. And when NOUTCHA came on the circuit as a good cadet in the French squad, she was not particularly conventional fencer. She was a fighter. She moved quite well, but she did lots of counterattacks, lots of kind of strange hits, and relied actually on battling away. And I've seen her develop over the last few years into a really, really strong sabre fencer with great technique, great movement, very good understanding in the middle of the piste, and it's been a joy to watch. I've just got a feeling NOUTCHA is going to pressure QUEROLI more than possibly the home crowd thinks.
Well, believe it or not, these two have never met in an international, but surely they know each other inside out.
Many times in domestic competition, cadet, junior and senior level.
NOUTCHA just 18 years old, world number 54. QUEROLI is 20 years old, believe it or not. She looks so much younger than that, and she's the world number 38. NOUTCHA got a bronze medal at the World Cup last year, or last season. It was actually this year, in 2018. She got a bronze, and QUEROLI got a GP bronze medal in the 2017 Moscow Grand Prix. So both have had experience of the podium.
Yeah, that's right. And QUEROLI was very dominant at the end of her junior years, but then she suffered I think it was a hamstring injury, quite a serious injury, and came back, and it's been great to see her come back since 2017. NOUTCHA took her bronze medal over in the US last season, and that was her real breakthrough performance as a senior fencer. She's still a junior, and undoubtedly is going to do very well this year in the junior competitions and especially the championships. Just a little break there as QUEROLI changes her sabre. Finely poised early in the match. They know each other so well, it's almost that they don't have to work out a strategy, they just have to try and make the strategy they know work against that person. They have to be clinical. When they have priority, just like there with QUEROLI, they have to convert their chances.
Audience here being very respectful, of course, with two French fencers. Polite applause for good hits. They know they're fencing. Knowledgeable crowd, that's for sure. John, we're seeing some of the fencers from around the world now adopting the new model, the Korean hop, for example. We see a lot of the Americans using it. We see a lot of fencers from around the world using it. When you have two French fencers, it tends to be slightly different, doesn't it? They do have a model, don't they?
That's right. There are some national styles, and I mean, I think Ed Corfanti's, can be credited with developing a lot of what we see outside the US as the US style. Although there are fencers from Yuri Gelman's stable that are a lot more what we consider conventional, if you like, sabre fencers, not in the new style. And Ed Corfanti's style is much more based on movement, distance, timing than it is on technical actions, although they do a lot of beats on the blade. And if you look at a comparison between someone like Mariel Zagunis and Dagmara Wozniak, you can see the two contrasting styles of US fencing. And then the Korean style is very bouncy and physical, huge lunges. The Hungarian style,
speed.
Very technical,
Let's
absolutely,
not forget the speed, the
incredible athletes, Then of course you've got the Hungarian style, very, very technical, beautiful parry post, lines, lots of use of different preparations as we saw from Marton earlier on. And it's great to see all these different kind of schools of thought.
How would you sum up the French style?
French style is very interesting because there are a couple of distinctive styles. If you look at someone like Berder, for instance, she's a big, strong physical fencer. She's got a huge lunge, big tempo in the middle of the piste. Slightly less subtle on the technical side, very subtle on the tactical side. Whereas these two fencers actually are probably technically slightly superior in some ways, and that their technique's a little bit finer, more honed, but obviously not as big and strong and powerful, and not using the timing so much, not using the big finishes so much. So,
but would you say it's all founded on the basis of incredibly disciplined footwork?
I mean, sabre is about footwork, distance, timing initially, and then around that you build. You have to have great technique to be successful at the top level. And if I'm criticising the technique of someone like Berder, What I mean is she's got one of the best techniques in the world, just not the best technique
But
in
no,
the world.
but my point being that the French look, as you say, the Hungarians, we can use that word technical. It's handbook, textbook style blade work. With the French, it tends to be more with the feet and moving
to an extent.
around.
But then the French style is built on the Hungarian technique of Sepeschi, who came over to France and was Christian Bauer's mentor, and then Christian Bauer took on the French team, and the French
look
style
what he's done.
Yeah, exactly. Not too bad. And the French style is built around still very solid Hungarian technique.
Well, it's QUEROLI here who is dominating things, as we suspected. NOUTCHA, I think, whilst has experience of the podium, is just being a little bit overwhelmed by the superior decision-making, I think, ultimately, from QUEROLI.
I think that's right. QUEROLI is just controlling the distance and controlling the middle of the piece slightly better. NOUTCHA's just I would say, chasing the hits, trying to get her light on rather than focus on execution. Just a good example there. She had a good idea. It was a good strategic, it was a good plan. But she just didn't execute. She did everything a bit too fast and a bit too early.
Well, Miklos Kosa here giving the 11th hit to QUEROLI. She's just a few hits away now from making it through. And we're in an interesting battle between Navarro and her, should she make it to 15.
It will be, absolutely. NOUTCHA there, I think if her hand was just a little bit more correct, that would have been her attack. But she just has a little... QUEROLI's technique is slightly stronger. NOUTCHA just tends to move her hand up and down and bring her hand slightly back before she delivers the final action. And they're very subtle, tiny movements, but it's enough at this level to make the difference between a simultaneous action and your attack, or a simultaneous action and attack on preparation.
It was nice from NOUTCHA there. QUEROLI should be all right. She just stepped off the side of the piste and took a bit of the hoarding with her. It looked worse than it was.
She had to do a bit of DIY there on the Coupe du Monde sign on the side of the piste.
Yeah, she'll be fine. Do you think that QUEROLI not only has come on individually, but the fact that she's in that team now makes a bit of a difference in terms of confidence and self-efficacy? I know the sports psychs out there will know what I mean.
Absolutely. There's so many things, so many reasons that helps her. It helps because she's world champion, yeah. That's psychologically huge.
And getting a big round of applause and a lap of honour here before we started as well.
It helps her from that perspective. Also, she's surrounded by, training and competing in that team. She's surrounded by athletes of enormous experience and medal-winning caliber, medal-winning pedigree, and she can learn from them. And just simply getting more peacetime against the world's very, very best fencers. There are many, many reasons that helps her.
Bit of a rush there at the end. They often say their 15th hit is the hardest to get, and QUEROLI perhaps stepping in a little bit early there. NOUTCHA experienced enough to know to take advantage of it.
Absolutely, and QUEROLI just trying to, again, as we said earlier, trying to win the fight instead of just keep fencing and let the 15th hit look after itself. It's the hardest thing to do. But there it is.
She's done it, and QUEROLI does indeed go through 15-9 against Sarah NOUTCHA, 18-year-old Sarah NOUTCHA. She is the real deal, though. We will see her again for sure. But Caroline QUEROLI is going to